I'm only happy with a narcissist. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Before I get into the body of this video, please do hype this video by hitting the button that you'll see on your screen to ensure that other people are notified about this video and receive the excellent information that it contains. My thanks in advance. I'm only happy with a narcissist. This is a phrase that I have heard on many occasions from those that I have consulted with, and my attention was drawn to the content of an agony aunt letter which stated this: "My ex-boyfriend is gorgeous, charming, sweet, generous, caring, emotionally available, loyal to a fault, supportive, and truly, truly kind. He was my biggest cheerleader and ultimate support. I have never felt so cared for. The only reason I ended things was because he didn't make me laugh. It's not that he isn't funny. He is, to a lot of people. I fear we just have a different sense of humour. Mine relies a lot on cultural references and shared context. A lot of the time, when I made jokes, he didn't get them. I'd end up explaining, and by then the moment was gone, and vice versa. For me, laughter feels essential. It's the foundation of so many of my closest friendships. Should I have stayed?" Now, that letter isn't about a narcissist and doesn't appear to be about lamenting the fact of needing a narcissist, but its content put me in mind of the phrase, "I'm only happy with a narcissist," because what you have there is ostensibly an individual that many people would say, that sounds like you've got a really good boyfriend. He's gorgeous and charming and sweet and generous and caring and emotionally available and loyal to a fault, supportive and truly, truly kind. What have you got to complain about? And yet, many individuals, when they have been involved with a narcissist, can come across somebody of similar nature and they reject them. And they reject them because they think they just came across as boring to me. I'm only happy when I'm with a narcissist. Well, what's going on when somebody thinks that way? Those of you listening would undoubtedly think to yourself, are you mad? How can you be happy with a narcissist? You know you can't be. The narcissist abuses you. The narcissist devalues you. The dynamic between narcissist and intimate partner primary source, as HG has pointed out innumerable times, is one that is ultimately always going to be awful. It's the worst devaluation that you can experience. It'll tear your life apart. So why would you say that you can only be happy with a narcissist? Well, it is the presence of that beast, emotional thinking. Many of you may be nodding when you heard me say, "I'm only happy with a narcissist." Some of you may be staggered to hear that phrase. But believe me, there are plenty of people that I have consulted with who have said those very words. "I can't go for somebody normal, HG. They are boring. I only get on with narcissists. I'm only excited by narcissists. Narcissists, I know they're abusers, but they're the only ones that do it for me. I am only happy when I am with a narcissist." That is emotional thinking. The logic tells you this. When the narcissist gives you the good stuff, it wasn't genuine. It was a benign manipulation to draw you in. The narcissist treated you badly. That's a malign manipulation, a series of them, which demonstrates, in both instances, the narcissist does not care about you, has no emotional empathy for you, and simply sees you as an object that is to be used for the purposes of the narcissist. That is the logic. That is irrefutable logic. And yet, that is no good to your addiction, for your addiction wants to be fed. And in order for it to be fed, it needs you to be with the narcissist, sleeping with the narcissist, holding hands with the narcissist, talking to the narcissist, doing things for the narcissist, talking about the narcissist, thinking about the narcissist. For if you do all of those things and more, you feed your addiction. Accordingly, if you recognize narcissists are no good for me, I'm staying away from them, your addiction is not fed, and it does not like that. Instead, it wants you thinking such things as, I need to be with the narcissist because the narcissist is the only one that makes me happy. And thus, you will get individuals that, having escaped the narcissist, decide that it's a good idea to try and date immediately, and then end up thinking to themselves, but the problem is, all the people that I meet, they're dull, they're boring, I don't like them. I need the thrill of the narcissist. You do not. The point is that what is happening to you is your emotional thinking is causing you to believe that you need to be with a narcissist. And the way that it does so is twofold. On the one hand, it tells you that non-narcissists are dull and boring, and it tells you that narcissists are exciting and you need to be with them. It's a little bit like being a meth addict. When you're on meth, life is exciting. Come off it, it seems very slow and very boring and painful. And therefore, what are you more likely to do? Start taking the drug again, because then just going back into its grip feels better. This is what the addiction wants you to do. And this is why it is so important that when you have ended a relationship with a narcissist, or the narcissist is disengaged from you, you must enter that period of cooling off. You need 6 months of total no contact to ensure that this emotional thinking goes down, so that you're not going to be tempted to be drawn back into the relationship with that narcissist that you've escaped from or who disengaged from you. And also, you don't walk straight into the arms of a new narcissist. I have witnessed many people do so because they didn't impose a total no-contact regime. Their emotional thinking was too high, and it caused them to fail to see a new narcissist that came along. In effect, it felt good to be with someone who was apparently gorgeous and charming and sweet and generous and caring, etc. But of course, they failed to see that they weren't because they had high emotional thinking. Whilst it's often the case that people believe that the most effective thing to get over somebody is to get under somebody new, it's not. Where you have been the victim of the narcissist, you have an increased chance of being caught by another narcissist if you go into dating soon thereafter, disengagement or escape. Naturally, the absence of the narcissist creates a huge hole in your life because invariably the narcissist has dominated and monopolized your time. And, as it's usually the case that you're disengaged from, they go off with somebody else, you're left on your own, and it hurts. And there's a huge hole. And the temptation to go and find somebody new as a distraction, and also, in some instances, to try and wave at the narcissist to say, look what you're missing, I've got somebody new, Yahoo sucks, is overwhelming. And again, is driven by that emotional thinking. Your emotional thinking wants you out there believing that you're only happy with the narcissist, that you're somehow doomed to keep repeating these behaviors, that you should just actually give up and think to yourself, look, I am largely happy with the narcissist. They're what get my juices flowing. They're what's exciting. They are what brings me to life. You're being duped and conned by your own emotional thinking because the logic tells you that's just not the case. What you think makes you feel wonderful is just a drug that is being pumped into you and misleading you by way of manipulation. And like any drug, there's always a cost associated with it. It is the sustained devaluation and the aftermath, be it that of escape or disengagement. This means that it's imperative that what you do upon escape or disengagement is the implementation of a total no-contact regime and utilising my resources, and that you stick with that for 6 months. No breaches. If there are, it will take longer. If you find yourself thinking, I'm only happy with a narcissist, recognise that's emotional thinking. It does not bear analysis when looked at through the lens of logic. If you believe that you are doomed to always be with narcissists, that is emotional thinking, for you are not. If you believe that normal people are boring, that is emotional thinking. They are not. They just appear that way because they are not of the mould of the narcissist. And the comparison between those heady, exciting golden days with the narcissist and the steadier approach of an individual who is not a narcissist seems dull by comparison. But when you've got your emotional thinking under control, you will recognize, I do not want a narcissist. I will never be happy with a narcissist. I understand that. I'm going to ensure that I have nothing to do with such a person. It cannot be underestimated the necessity of the cessation of a relationship with a narcissist for you to implement that no-contact regime and maintain that 6-month cooling-off period. You might have that itch that you want to have scratched by getting down and doing the fandango with somebody, but you're not allowed to, because you're likely to enter the hunting ground of a narcissist. You're vulnerable, you're susceptible, your emotional thinking is too high. And it doesn't just disappear overnight, it takes time to drain it. Where you think, I'm only happy with a narcissist, recognize that is emotional thinking, and recognize that you've got work ahead of you by the implementation of the no-contact regime and 6 solid months of cooling off from relationships. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.